announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire.
The WNBA just learned the harshest lesson possible. Without Caitlin Clark, the entire league feels like it's collapsing. And I don't mean things feel a little slower, or the buzz isn't the same. I mean an actual collapse. Ratings free-falling by more than 50% since her injury. Indiana Fever games losing more than half their viewers in the playoffs. The league's most important stage, tanking faster than anyone predicted. Think about that for a second. Playoffs are supposed to be the time when fans tune in no matter what. Even casual viewers who skip regular season games usually show up when the stakes are higher. But this year, people didn't just skip them, they straight up ignored them. And that's terrifying for a league that's been begging for mainstream attention for decades. But here's the scary part. This isn't just about Clark. Yes, her absence exposed the cracks. But those cracks were already there. In the way the league markets itself, in how it handles its stars, in how fragile its foundation really is. What's happening right now reveals a much deeper problem, one that could decide whether the WNBA grows into something sustainable or completely falls apart within a few short years. Because the truth is brutal. No league in the world can survive if its entire identity rests on one player. And that's exactly what the WNBA just discovered the hard way.
That the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership.
It started the second Clark went down. One awkward fall, one painful injury, and the WNBA's ratings machine shut down overnight. League-wide TV numbers didn't just dip, they cratered. More than 50% of viewers vanished almost instantly. And for the Indiana Fever, Clark's team, the one she had single-handedly transformed into must-watch TV, the drop was even uglier, 53%. Over half the people who tuned in week after week just disappeared. Imagine running Netflix, and one day half your subscribers cancel at once. Imagine being the NFL, and the second Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, the Super Bowl loses half its audience. That doesn't happen in real sports leagues. But it just happened in the WNBA. Fans expected a small dip, sure. Every league takes a hit when a superstar is out. But this wasn't a dip. This was a nosedive straight into the ground. And that's what made the numbers so damning. It proved something the league didn't want anyone to say out loud. The WNBA's so-called growth wasn't because fans suddenly woke up and discovered women's basketball. It was because of one single player. Clark wasn't just a star. She was the sun, and every other storyline, every other game, every other player revolved around her light. The moment she disappeared, the entire galaxy went dark. And here's the kicker. Once fans saw how fragile that setup was, once they realized the boom was basically one name and one name only, it became impossible to ignore. The WNBA hadn't actually fixed its problems. It had just found a temporary distraction. But ratings were only the first domino to fall. The collapse spread into ticket sales, sponsorships, and even the credibility of the league itself.
Comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever in their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
Let's be real. The WNBA put all its eggs in one basket. Or in this case, one superstar. Clark wasn't just marketed as the face of the Fever. She was marketed as the face of the entire league. ESPN built highlight packages around her. Every headline mentioned her name. Even casual sports fans who had never watched a WNBA game tuned in just to see if the hype was real. And for a while, it worked. Ratings spiked. Social media engagement exploded. Suddenly, women's basketball was trending. But the second she was out, the hype collapsed like a balloon with a hole in it. This is what happens when an entire league depends on one player. The NBA survived when LeBron got injured. The NFL doesn't crumble if Patrick Mahomes misses a game. But the WNBA? Take Caitlin Clark away, and suddenly it looks like a house of cards in the middle of a hurricane. And while fans tuned out, the league faced an even bigger disaster on the court. Clark's injury wasn't just a one-time fluke. It was part of a much bigger trend. The WNBA has become a non-stop injury report. Angel Reese quit mid-season. Other stars missed weeks with nagging problems. And fans started asking if this was even basketball anymore, or just a waiting list for orthopedic surgery. Defenders treated Clark like a crash test dummy. Every drive to the basket looked like a demolition derby. She wasn't the only one taking hits, but she was the one everyone noticed. Because when your brightest star spends more time on the bench than the court, fans don't just lose interest, they lose faith. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the officiating turned the whole season into a circus.
Not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up.
If you wanted consistency from WNBA referees this season, you had a better chance flipping a coin. One game, a player gets shoved across the floor with no call. The very next game, someone sneezes too aggressively and gets ejected. Fans compared it to WWE. You half expected someone to pull out a steel chair or jump off the scorer's table. The credibility of the league was slipping away with every whistle. And instead of fixing it, leadership just shrugged and hoped fans wouldn't notice. But they noticed, and the commissioner's response made things even worse. Kathy Engelbert went on camera insisting the league was growing. Growing? That's like the captain of the Titanic bragging about how beautiful the ship looks while it's underwater. She talked about momentum, about expansion, about progress, while arenas echoed with empty seats and ticket sales collapsed. Social media roasted the league's attempts to spin the narrative. The WNBA kept tweeting about another exciting night of action, while fans filled the comments with memes of tumbleweeds rolling through arenas. When your own marketing becomes comedy fodder, you've got a serious problem. And that frustration boiled over as fans realized the league was playing games with them.
Indiana against the Chicago Sky. Right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
Viewers started accusing the WNBA of dangling Clark's return like bait. Every rumor of a comeback got hyped. Every vague update was turned into hope, and fans got tired of it. Ticket sales dropped more than 50%. Broadcast numbers slid even further. Instead of winning trust, the league lost it. Fans felt manipulated. And nothing kills loyalty faster than realizing the people running the show see you as numbers, not supporters. And the worst part? This wasn't just bad luck. It was bad leadership. The WNBA has begged for years to be taken seriously. And for a few golden weeks, it was. But the second Clark went down, the entire illusion collapsed. Fans realized the league hadn't built a foundation. They built a marketing plan around one player and ignored everything else. Injuries are part of sports, yes. Bad officiating happens in every league. But the WNBA's issues aren't random. They're systemic. A commissioner who refuses to protect players. Referees who turn games into chaos. Leadership that calls disaster growth. Without stars, there is no product. Without protection, there are no stars. It's not complicated. It's basic business. So what does this mean for the future of the WNBA? This was supposed to be the breakout season. The year the WNBA finally stepped into the spotlight and proved it belonged among the big leagues. Instead, it became a case study in what happens when you ignore your problems, gamble everything on one player, and hope fans won't notice the cracks. But they did notice. Ratings down. Ticket sales collapsing. Fans furious. Stars injured. Refs mocked. Leadership exposed. And now, the league faces its biggest question yet. If the WNBA can't survive without Caitlin Clark, how long can it survive at all?